Hello everyone, it's me Varus, and in this video I'll be giving you a full update on what's going on with the US and its weather. I'll give you an update on the really big cool down that we have currently that's expected to last for the next few weeks in the east and especially central US, while we take a break from the tropics as activity looks really minimal. And I'll maybe talk a little bit about the tropics at the end, but nothing too substantial to show on any maps today. So today is all about the US. So I hope you enjoy, and let's get right into it. So starting out with the National Weather Service and its alerts, relatively quiet in terms of active weather, especially for these eastern 2/3 of the US. The west much more active with some red flag warnings and advisories, fire advisories, and some heat warnings, and heat advisories as well, and lots of flood watches and flash flood warnings. That's because right now we have a ridge in the west and this really massive trough in the east. And so what this ridge is causing is warmer air, Pacific air as well, as it floods in with the from the west, causes some flooding and heat in the drier areas. Whereas in the east we get a nice cool blast of air that's expected to really linger for a long time, especially I'd say in these areas in the central US, as it kind of backs off from the east slightly on some auto guidance. I'll show you guys all about that in the coming frames. So that's that. Let's go to temperature outlook. So this is from the Climate Prediction Center for the next 6 to 10 days, September 1st to the 5th, and this was issued just today. And you can clearly see that ridge. So you got the ridge building in the west. The ridge is a little bit off the coast, which is letting this trough dip further into the central US, and then it's able to come up through the east, maybe more like that. Just redraw that real quick. I'd say something like this. It's a pretty sharp area right there, and then likely comes back up, something like that. But it's a really broad trough, which is why we're seeing cooler temperatures from places as far west as Arizona, going all the way to almost the southern tip of Maine. So very broad area of cooler air, and the warmer air in the west, south, and extreme northern areas of the northeast. So that's 6 to 10 day temperature. What about precipitation? With the cooler air, we also get above average precipitation for much of the US. The eastern seaboard mostly with tropical activity that could be present, mainly homegrown activity since we're having so many cold fronts. If they ever make it down to the coast and the coastal low is able to spin up and gain tropical characteristics, you always have to watch out along the eastern seaboard. For the rest of the US, just above average precipitation for some typical storms, systems, and in the Pacific Northwest, below average precipitation. Is the only area of below average precipitation on the map. For the US, the mainland at least. Alaska, different story. So let's take a look at temperatures. I'm a big fall person and winter person, and so this gets me excited for what's to come after September, and that's kind of far ahead. But lots of people like to use dew point, and so we're going to use dew point because it really shows the cooler air better than like temperatures, for example, especially in fall. So this is today, and you can see that clear like cold front right through here. A little bit of ridging over here, and then that ridge out west. Obviously, since we got mountainous areas here, it's still going to be pretty cold at the peaks. So if we continue this front is actually still kind of making its way through, and by the time we get to midweek tomorrow morning, it should start to clear all areas. And with that, you do get this, wherever you have that colder air, you got to have some type of opposite reaction, right? Basic laws of physics, and that's where we see this area of warmer air kind of come through the central US, and Texas could watch for some severe weather in this area. We'll see. I haven't checked the maps yet, so we'll take a look. So we'll see. We could watch for severe weather as we have a retreating cooler air mass, but mainly it's really subtle. I mean, this isn't the sharpest. This is a pretty good, crisp, cool air mass, but it's not the sharpest of air masses, if you know what I mean. So it kind of lingers. Watch for any severe weather, or some type of just general variety of storms down near Texas, where that cold air kind of retreats right around, I'd say, here, kind of going on the fly. So if we continue this through the end of the work week, you still have colder air in the northeast. You might get a moderation day on Friday before a reinforcing shot comes straight from the north, while the central U.S. kind of gets some warmer temperatures, and the west actually gets pretty cold. Now this is before the September 1st to 6th, so this is kind of more closer term. Now we're gonna get into the 6th. So here we are, and if you see right here, it's kind of hard to see. You see the circulation right here? Yeah, that's the European model showing some sort of homegrown activity or tropical system, subtropical system that tries to get characteristics. So that's the stuff we're gonna have to watch as these cold fronts and reinforcing shots come through. And even behind that, you got another one from the north, and then yet another one before we kind of start to moderate a little bit. This is far out, but we do moderate slightly through September, once we get to mid-September, it looks like. So let's take a little bit of a wider, higher look, 500 millibars. So here's the look right now. So the trough definitely out west and in the north, and the ridge, and then the trough out here in the east. Classic negative EPL, positive PNA setup. Could be negative NAEO, some ridging, yep. So we watch, and that ridge does flex east a little, but that trough is really, really stubborn, stays in place. And then we get this kind of break off, but with this, you have a ridge of high pressure, or ridging over here, ridge right here, cooler air here. Could get another burst coming through right here. You'll see in the next few frames. You can see that there comes the next burst of air, and this is getting September 2nd, so it's a reinforcing shot. And then you can see with that reinforcing shot, this ridge kind of retrogrades back into further up north and west into Alaska, which allows some light ridging to remain in the west, but some subtropical ridging tries to get into the east, where this trough kind of centers itself more towards the Midwest rather than the East Coast. But again, you could easily have another cold shot that looks to set up at the end of the model run, possibly. Nope. Maybe some moderation again towards mid-month. Yeah, you can see that as it kind of collapses. Your ridge in Alaska gets replaced by a trough, therefore could start to cool back in the west, and then warmer air starts to dominate into the east and central U.S. But I will say, for the eastern U.S., for the northeast at least, I'd say the Dixie line points north. You're done with 90-degree temperatures. I could be wrong, but I really think this cool blast will be able to keep us through middle of September, and even if we do have above average temperatures, our climatological average highs will be well below 90s. It'll probably be like lower 80s, so maybe we could see a couple more 90s, but I think we're done with substantial heat over here in the northeast where I am. So that's that. That's about it. Just want to squeeze out a quick video. More to come. So school has started today, and so I'll be uploading every other day. So expect uploads on Thursday, Saturday, vice versa, or etc. And if there's any scheduling changes, I'll make sure to let you guys know. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.